President Muizzu, who's getting a ceremonial welcome. Do remember that he's here on his first bilateral visit. He's here with the First Lady, and this is Muizzu, who met with the External Affairs Minister. He's going to be meeting with Prime Minister Modi as well as the President Draupadi Murmu. Well, this is in order to reset ties with India. Do remember, this is his second visit. His first visit came about this very year in June, when he had come in for the swearing-in ceremony of the Prime Minister for Modi 3.0 government. And there we have President Draupadi Murmu and the Prime Minister there for the ceremonial welcome of the Maldives President, who is here in India. He did meet with the External Affairs Minister. He's also said about how they would never undermine the security when it comes to India, is what has been said by Muizzu. This is a diplomatic U-turn of sorts. This is as far as the Maldives President is concerned. He will not act to undermine India's security and views, is what they're saying, that India is a valued partner and friend, and cooperation in several fields, including defense, will always be a priority, is what he said as he arrived in the national capital on Sunday for his bilateral visit. Mr. Muizzu is seen by some as a pro-China leader who ran his election campaign on an India Out platform, told a national English daily that Maldives' relationship with India is built on respect and shared interests, and that Delhi has been and is one of his country's largest trade and development partners. The Prime Minister is going to be meeting. In fact, we will see the Prime Minister there, hosting that ceremonial ceremony that is just about to start, that ceremonial welcome for the Maldives President. Maldives would never do anything to undermine the security of India. While we enhance cooperation with other countries in various sectors, we remain committed to ensuring our actions do not compromise the security and stability of our region, is what Mr. Muizzu has said. And while not naming China, also underlines his administration's resolve to fostering growth and development through diverse international collaborations. He flagged his Maldives First policy, saying it's essential for Maldives to diversify international relations and reduce over-dependence on any one country. However, of course, respect for our neighbor and friends is embedded in our DNA, he said, as he called on Indian tourists to return. Indians make a positive contribution. Indian tourists are welcome, is what he has gone on to say, battling for the country's most important economic sector, which took a big hit last year after the diplomatic row. So it is, in fact, when we talk about the President, who is here on his first bilateral meeting with India. Of course, this is his second visit since the Prime Minister took office for the third time. He is here with his wife, and of course, Mr. Muizzu will be received by the Prime Minister as well as the President Draupadi Murmu in that ceremonial welcome. It is, this is a visit in which he has come to strengthen the ties between the two nations. Of course, it was Jaishankar, who has also gone on, who met him on Sunday, said that, he is, of course, expressing his appreciation when it comes to the commitment that the President has shown towards strengthening the relationship between India and Maldives. He also expressed confidence that after Mr. Muizzu talks with the Prime Minister, that will bring about a new boost with friendly ties, is what Mr. Jaishankar has said after meeting with the President. Now, also adding about, the relationship between the two nations, of course, boosting and strengthening the ties between Maldives and India. And there we have the President of Maldives driving up to be received by Prime Minister Modi during his visit. This is a 5-day visit, and of course his second visit this very year since the swearing-in ceremony of the Prime Minister. This is his first bilateral meeting with India. He's here on a 5-day visit. He will also be traveling to Agra, Mumbai and Bengaluru. There you can see the President getting off his car in order to be received by the Prime Minister. Ceremonial welcome there by Prime Minister Modi. He's meeting with President Draupadi Murmu first. He is accompanied by his wife there, and that is President Muizzu shaking hands with Prime Minister Modi as he greets the wife of President Muizzu there. You can see this is a 5-day visit of the President of Maldives till the 10th of October. He will be travelling to Agra as well as Mumbai and Bengaluru.
Well, the images that you see on your screen now are of the Maldivian President Mohamed Muizzu, the First Lady of the Maldives, President Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This is in the forecourt of the Rashtrapati Bhavan on a very, very important state visit, his first to India by the Maldivian President. This is an effort at resetting the relationship between India and the Maldives, which have really suffered over the last 1 year. The Maldivian President, who you see on your screen at this stage, had come to power on a India Go Home plank, whereby he asked Indian armed forces deployed in the Maldives to operate just 3 aircraft which had been donated to the Maldives by India to return home. Again, these images coming to you from the forecourt of Rashtrapati Bhavan, where the President of the Maldives, Mohamed Muizzu, will now be receiving a guard of honor. This is a very important visit, which, as we've been saying, is meant to reset the rather difficult relationship which we've seen of late between the two countries. In a very important interview given to the Times of India, President Mohamed Muizzu, ahead of his arrival in India, says that the Maldives will not do anything to undermine the security of India. Now, these are very welcome words for New Delhi because it comes at a time when we've seen a growing Chinese presence in the waters of the Indian Ocean. We've seen so-called Chinese research ships dock in Malé itself. And we've seen the President of the Maldives travel to Beijing on his first state visit, as opposed to the traditional visit to India first, which is what other Maldivian presidents have done. India has a very close economic relationship with the Maldives. That is something which President Muizzu would be looking forward to get a handle on this time around. India assists the Maldives in many ways. Again, that's something that Maldives would seek to extend cooperation on. There are, of course, historic cultural links between India and the Maldives. There have been some important statements which have come in the last little while from the Maldives, not least of all in that interview which I referred to the Times of India, where Mohamed Muizzu said that New Delhi was a valued partner and friend, and that cooperation will continue in various areas, including defense, and that will always be a priority. Um, I think it's important to try and understand the geopolitical significance of this reset in relations. Over the last several years, we've seen an increased presence of China in the waters of the Indian Ocean. We've seen China set up its first overseas military base in Djibouti in the Horn of Africa. We've seen China in the Hambantota port in Sri Lanka, which they have on lease. We've seen China operate any number of research vessels up and down the Bay of Bengal. And we've seen some of these vessels dock in Malé as well, in the Maldives. China has also been competing in a sense, or reaching out to the leadership of the Maldives to try and get more economic projects assigned to them. This is where India needs to come in, and where India has made it a point that regional stability and balance needs to be maintained. And I think the remark made by the president of the Maldives that Malé will not do anything to undermine the security of India reflects perhaps the changing mindset of people in the Maldives. When the Maldivian president asked Indian military personnel operating those 3 aircraft, 2 helicopters and 1 fixed-wing aircraft, to actually leave, there was this concerted effort at, protests over here in India. It became a social media issue. This after there were some rather difficult, trying comments made by some Maldivian leaders directed at Prime Minister Modi. You could see Prime Minister Modi meet President Muizzu just now. There was a huge drop in tourism between India and the Maldives. But I think the Maldives would want to fix that, because there is, to a certain extent, an economic priority in ensuring that that relationship is stable. Yesterday, when he arrived in India, President Muizzu was on board an Indian Air Force aircraft. The first officer to greet him upon his arrival in New Delhi was an Indian Air Force officer. So again, it's a full-fledged state visit which has been given, a huge honor to the Maldivian president, and that sort of conforms to the close relationship which we've always had between India and the Maldives. He'll be here for 4 or 5 days. He'll be traveling to Mumbai and I believe to Bengaluru as well. He has said that the relationship between the two countries is something that he seeks to expand on, to build on the respect and shared interests between the two countries. While we enhance cooperation with other countries in various sectors, we remain committed to ensuring our actions do not compromise the security and stability of our region. So while not saying that they would move away from China, certainly saying that India will also remain a priority in that relationship, and that the focus of his government was to foster growth and development through diverse international cooperations. This is all part of what President Muizzu calls his Maldives First policy. And in as much as India is an important partner, he did say that it is essential for the Maldives to diversify international relations and reduce overdependence on any one country. So perhaps mixed signals at one level, but the statement that says that India's security will not be compromised is significant.
Vishnu there, thank you so much for getting us all those details of the visit of the President of Maldives, who's here, who just received a ceremonial welcome by the Prime Minister and the President of the country. He's here on a 5-day visit, and like Vishnu mentioned, he will also be visiting Agra as well as Mumbai and Bengaluru.